Cash Money Ching Ching was in front of Congress testifying. And here's the deal: the lying and the corruption is only absolutely stunning if you haven't been following Trump, but how unhinged he is. He was a nut of epic proportions. The first thing right out of the box, I'm going to show you what he says about Jeffrey Epstein.
No credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals.
He sits there with a straight face in front of Congress after women have testified. These women are alive. They have been out at the steps of the Capitol. They have said we are trafficked. And to cover Donald Trump's ass, Cash Money sits up there and victimizes them all over again by saying there is no credible evidence. It's stunning.
Let me ask you a question as a non-lawyer. What was Ghislaine Maxwell charged with and convicted of?
Perjury, trafficking.
Okay, so she was charged with trafficking, which means there's evidence of trafficking. And he just sat there and told Congress that there's no evidence of trafficking, which is why I don't believe anything coming out of this FBI, period.
I completely agree, because he's sitting there lying, knows he's being recorded in front of Congress. He doesn't give a shit. So him lying in pleadings about witnesses and going on in Utah is not a stretch, not even a little bit. So then Kash Patel, who says there's no evidence, none, that Jeffrey Epstein trafficked people, asked about his knowledge of the Jeffrey Epstein file. This is his response.
Have you seen the Epstein files?
I have not reviewed the entirety of it myself, but a good amount.
Are you kidding me? You're the director of the FBI. This has been going on for months and months. You've had Pam Bondi since June saying, I'm going to release the client list. The files are on my desk. Notebooks go out to right-wing influencers. Kash Patel testified that there was no evidence. Then he admits that he hasn't reviewed all the file, and he is the director of the FBI, and I'm supposed to feel safe?
Well, he, for years prior to this, had a podcast that was basically devoted to the Jeffrey Epstein case. And so you're telling me that this guy who made all this money podcasting and devotes all of his time auditioning to Donald Trump, being blindly obedient and just a liar and dishonest and corrupt and all this shit and unlikable on top of that, and crazy eyes on top of that. No disrespect to people who have crazy eyes. But you're telling me that you finally get the keys to the kingdom? If you and I had wanted this, we would have pulled an all-nighter with highlighters. I mean, we would have had flow charts if we wanted this so bad. And then you finally get it legally. You can deep dive into it. And he's not reviewing. It's just not even believable.
It's not believable, because you're right. Immediately, you've been talking about it. You get in there, you read every single bit instantly.
Totally.
First day on the job. And then please don't ever tell me ever again that women are too emotional. And men are not emotional. And that's why they're better in power positions. This guy is unhinged.
Hear about is a child sex predator that was prosecuted by a prior administration, and the Obama Justice Department and the Biden Justice Department did squat. And what did President Trump do? Bring new charges courageously. And what have we done?
Chairman,
you said I'm the most transparent FBI director in history. 33,000 pages of information to you. I challenge you to say anything credibly to the truth. Go ahead and run to the cameras where you want to go now.
Both of you be quiet.
What a nut. He's talking about the 33,000 redacted pages in response to the congressional subpoena. He's acting like Donald Trump is so transparent about Epstein. Are you kidding? Like, does he think we're that dumb?
Well, his base is, and Trump said that at Bedminster, he said, smart people don't like me. And so this hits hard in the manosphere, the hatosphere, and they like this kind of unhinged, but there's a problem, because a lot of them were waiting for Kash to come in and release the Epstein files and reveal all, this network of clients and participants that these girls were trafficked to, and he's not doing it. So this is a fissure that is not going to have longevity. They're defending Jeffrey Epstein, because that's what it sounded like to me. He's defending the secrecy of Donald Trump. And it's a classic abuser technique to accuse somebody else of what you're doing. He's saying, Donald Trump is transparent when he really isn't at all transparent. It's the opposite of transparency. These are all abuser tactics. And this works very well on the very emotionally stunted MAGA base, because it's my belief that you have broken people at the top of the government who never emotionally evolved and emotionally matured. You have these stunted idiots and the base feels companionship and camaraderie in the brokenness.
It's just unbelievable that a former podcaster that called himself Cash Money is leading the DOJ. Here he is again, showing so much emotional maturity.
She's transferred to a minimum security prison not suitable for a sex offender like herself. Who made that decision and why?
The Bureau of Prisons.
The Bureau of Decisions made it in
Prisons.
The Bureau of Prisons decided on their own, without any consultation with Blanche or anyone else, that they were going to suddenly, after this interview, completely unrelated to this interview, completely unrelated to anything she said, move her to a prison not suitable for a sex offender. You want the American people to believe that? Do you think they're stupid?
No, I think the American people believe the truth, that I'm not in the weeds on the everyday movements of
you're not in
inmates.
the weeds?
What I am doing is protecting this country, providing historic reform, and combating the weaponization of intelligence by the likes of you. And we have countlessly proven you to be a liar in Russiagate, in January 6th. You are the biggest fraud to ever sit in the United States Senate. You are a disgrace to this institution and an utter coward.
I'm not surprised.
This is MAGA's fierce champion. We're sending Ghislaine Maxwell to minimum security, club fed, as it were. And he wants to go after a U.S. senator in the United States Congress because he doesn't want to answer the question. This is right on brand. So gross. And then here's one thing. Do you remember Kash Patel? He printed his enemies list. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. So questioned about that. Let's see what he says.
When you were here for your confirmation, we talked about your so-called enemies list. It appears to me that there have been adverse actions of various kinds taken against about 20 of the 60 people on your enemies list. You've been in office for 7 months. At that rate, you've got 14 months until you've hit all 60. Can you explain that?
Again, that is an entirely inaccurate presupposition. I do not have an enemies list. You can continue to carry.
Okay. So pop it up, Kylie. Here's his enemies list. Here it is. Members of the executive branch, deep state, and it lists all these people. Merrick Garland's on it. I mean, Stephanie Grisham is on it. I mean, does he think we're stupid? Obviously, this
Bill Barr is on it.
Well, because Bill Barr, if you remember, said Kash Patel wasn't even qualified to be in the FBI.
This is the FBI is not a credible organization anymore. And sadly, the DOJ is not a credible organization anymore. And what's important to point out here is that there are many Americans that are normal people that don't make this kind of list, that want to be attorneys, that want to be prosecutors, that want to work in U.S. attorneys' offices. There are people that believe in law and order and the truth and want to work in law enforcement as FBI agents. And what a disgrace to these thousands hardworking Americans. These guys aren't looking to be billionaires and not pay taxes like the supporters of this administration. These people are looking for a job where they can have health care and try to do something good and put their head on a pillow at night. And what this administration has taken away from so many of our fellow citizens that selflessly went into this type of work, and you have such a piece of shit president, and the shit just goes downhill to this guy. And there are so many really good people that work in law enforcement, and they have to work under the moral collapse of this. And the really best ones have already been purged.
Yes, they have.
The best, the people who have the most principle, the people that would not bend, that wouldn't lie, for a 80-year-old demented man who can't blend his makeup with swollen ankles, needs a bra, cheats at golf. The people who wouldn't lie for that piece of shit were the first escorted out. And I guarantee you, after this whole Charlie Kirk thing, the people who don't jump on board with the shit that this man made up, they're going to be escorted out too. And we're losing the best in this country and replacing them with the worst.
That's absolutely true. I could not have said it better myself. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel. We'll be back with more news.